Good morning, everyone. It is 9 o'clock. We do have a quorum, so I'll call the September 24th, 2019 Board of Supervisors meeting to order. We have Pastor Jacob Vanover from Rural Retreat Baptist Church here to do our invocation. And I ask everyone to please stand and remain standing for our pledge. Pastor Vanover.
Let us pray. Father, we love you, and we thank you for your goodness and your grace and your mercy. Lord, I thank you for that we can assemble in a free country, be able to do your business. Lord, as in the state of government, Lord, I ask that you be with this board today. I ask you to guide the affairs of our county. And Lord, I thank you for the blessings that you've given us. And Lord, I ask that you would allow each thing that we do be guided with wisdom and discernment. Lord, I ask that you would provide for us, protect us. Lord, be with our schools and our county and the citizens here. Lord, may we be a peaceful people. Lord, help us to live amongst ourselves, Lord, showing your Christ-like love. Lord, I'm thankful for these who are willing to give of themselves and their time to labor for the direction and guidance. Lord, I ask that you would just be with each step that we take and all the affairs that we decide upon. Lord, I thank you for leadership. Lord, I thank you for the democracy that's represented and, Lord, the system that you govern and guide by. Lord, we ask that you would just bless these now. Lord, reward them according to their labor for you. Lord, bless our country and our county. And, Lord, I ask that you would be with each step now. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excuse me. Again, welcome everyone. Citizens time. No one signed up, but I'll open the floor if any citizen would like to come and speak. Hearing none, I'll close citizens time. Next item on our agenda is payment of invoices. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Have a second. Have a motion and a second. Any invoice any board member would like to pull out or discuss? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Ball?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Next item is minutes of our previous meeting, September the 10th, 2019. Entertain a motion to approve.
Make that motion.
Have a second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any corrections or changes need to be made to the minutes? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Horny?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Old business, Mr. Byers, anything in our old business?
Do not have anything listed, Mr. Chairman. I will say, just keep in mind, we did have some appointments for the rec commission. We talked about it last time. If anybody has anything there to fill, we continue to monitor that and get additional people on that.
Does any board member have anybody to appoint to the recreation committee?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Bear, I talked to Marcus Williams, who's interested in serving on the recreation committee for the Black Lake District. And I've got his contact information. I'll give it to you.
Okay. Do you want to go ahead?
I'll make a motion that we appoint Marcus Williams to the Recreation Board.
Have a second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So appointed. Anything else, Mr. Barr?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman.
I don't see Miss Gwynn. I don't see Miss Barker. I don't see Sheriff Dunnigan.
Mr. Chairman, if I might, Ms. Gwynn sent information to me. There is a Tyler Munis user group meeting that is taking place in Roanoke today. Ms. Gwynn, a couple of members of our AP staff, I think Ms. Kathy Vault from the Commissioner of Revenue's office, and maybe one other, are all in attendance at that. She wanted to let you know that that's where she was while she was not here. They are continuing to work through the Tyler Munis personal property and real estate system, and hope to have the tax tickets out in October. So just give us an updated information on it. They do have a meeting scheduled with Tyler Munis Support again next Monday. They wanted to have it this week, but the Tyler Munis Support person is not able until next Monday to continue going through some of their steps.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Barr. Water Committee report.
All right, the water committee met September the 17th and makes the following recommendations. To amend and appropriate $17,100 to line item 4401-470010 for the purchase of 2 Hershey's meter reader transmitter units, or transceiver units, sorry.
Okay, again, come from committee, it doesn't need a second. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Ball?
Aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Next item.
To increase the enterprise zones, which is Progress Park only, rates by 4.5% as follows. You want me to read all them rates?
You can, and this is for sewer rates only.
First is 0 to 3.5 million gallons. The current rate is 7.94, and we're gonna go to 8.3 for every 1,000 gallons. Next would be 3.5 to 9 million gallons, and it'll go from 5.98 to 6.25. Then we'll go to 9 to 15 million gallons, and it's 5.07 to 5.30. Anything over 15 million gallons is 4.18 to 4.37.
Okay, come from committee, it doesn't need a second. Any questions or discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I would just mention the agreement on the enterprise zone is that those rates go up based on CPI, and this is off of a 2-year CPI increase.
Does that raise any questions or comments? Bless you.
And when, we talked about it in the water committee, when was the last time these
2
rates went
years
up?
ago.
2 years ago?
Yeah.
Because we talked about that it probably needs to go up every year. So we don't have such a huge increase.
Okay, any other comments? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Ball?
Aye.
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 The chair votes aye. Last item.
To authorize a payment plan for Stephanie Smith of 946 Sheffey School Road, whose total account balance is $403.71.
Again, coming from committee, it doesn't need a second, and I will ask Mr. Byrd to go over this one.
Yeah, Ms. Smith had had a leak that apparently had gone on for quite some time, and because of that, when she came in and finally found the source of it and replaced the main line, her leak adjustment did not qualify for, or her leak did not qualify for a leak adjustment. She has just asked for permission to pay this on a promissory note over time, and staff agrees with that. She's had a good payment history and recommends approval of this promissory note.
Does that raise any questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Horny?
Aye.
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 And the chair votes aye. Budget committee report.
Budget Committee met on September 19th and recommends the following. First item is to amend and appropriate $13,567 to the Extension Cooperative Services budget.
Again, come from committee, it doesn't need a second. Any questions, comments? Hear none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Horny?
Aye.
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 The chair votes aye. Next item.
To transfer up to $5,300 to the Clerk of Circuit Court part-time budget contingent upon the local fund source not being restricted.
Okay, again, come from committee, it doesn't need a second. Any questions, comments?
I'll just comment, the clerk has had an employee that is out on maternity leave and needs to have some additional part-time help, and is looking at bringing in a retired individual from the circuit court to help out, and just trying to transfer some funds to help out there.
Any other questions, comments? Hear none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Ball?
Aye.
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 The chair votes aye. Next item.
To amend and appropriate $6,847 to 4401-457010 for the shared debt service for the New River Regional Water Treatment Plant.
Okay, again, come from committee, doesn't need a second. Any questions? Comments?
Is that a maintenance item?
No, sir, it's actually, it's maintenance for the budget is what it is. Basically, when we included the debt service payments in the budget for New River Regional Water Authority, our number was incorrect. We were $6,800 short on what we put in there. We did go back, confirm with it. It was just an incorrect number that we had.
Okay, thank you.
Does that raise any questions? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Horny?
Aye.
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 The chair votes aye. Next item.
To accept the Mount Rogers Planning District Commission grant in the amount of $20,000 and to amend and appropriate the same. This grant award is for a comprehensive water and wastewater study.
Okay, again, come from committee, it doesn't need a second. Any questions? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Horny?
Aye.
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 The chair votes aye. County Administrator's Report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first thing you have before you is revenue sharing resolutions. Earlier this year, you remember we made pre-application on 6 projects for the revenue sharing. I provided and when we did so, we sent letters to the individual that was sort of spearheading for each of those groups. If they wanted to proceed with this, we gave them the calculation of an estimate of what a tax district would be and gave them a deadline of last week to have a petition in to us for creation of a transportation service district. As you can see by my memo, Staff Street has submitted their petition. In fact, all of you all got a copy of their petition. That one is ready to proceed, and I do recommend adoption of the revenue sharing resolutions. Pinwood Lane, we do not have a petition yet, but I have had conversations with the landowner. There's not but 4 landowners that have 6 parcels out there. It is a very short stretch of land right there. I do anticipate that they will have everything in place to be able to proceed and recommend adopting the revenue sharing resolution for it. Orion Lane is also a short one and relatively low cost. I am not 100% certain that we're going to be able to overcome some of the right-of-way issues that exist through there, but the property where the right-of-way was located, which was originally the Jewell Family Estates, has just been sold. And I have been in touch with the attorney from Jewell Family Estates, and I've now been in touch with the attorney from the new property owners. My recommendation would be go ahead and leave it in there at this time, and we'll see if we can have all of those issues addressed and taken care of on it. The next 3 were, as of last week, my recommendations of not proceeding with. Bentwood Drive, we had not heard anything on it, and the calculated tax rate on it is up around $1.57 per $100, which is basically 3 times our tax rate, and that is higher than any one we have done. But I do understand from talking to Mr. Hale, Mr. McRoberts before the meeting, those owners may still be interested in proceeding on it. Do you all have any information on it?
I'd like to ask a question. We do charge 2% on that money, don't we?
It's typically what interest we're making, so it's like 2%.
Well, would you please recalculate, since that one is so high, and see what 10 years, and there's only a few people, and that is pretty high. But the 3 that contacted me were willing to do it. It seems like the others say they're on fixed incomes and they just can't do it. So if we recalculated at 10 years, which we've done before, haven't we?
We'd probably still be up between $1 and $1.10 at that point in time on 10 years, just off the top of my head.
But
We could do that.
that looks a lot better than $1.50.
Yeah.
This one guy said that he would be willing to pay $1,000 a year for 7 years, but the others didn't feel that way. If we can keep them on the list, it doesn't hurt us, does it?
Well, I talked to VDOT about that. They're a little more picky this year in that if you adopt the resolution, you should be committing to it. In the past, they sort of let you withdraw the application, or if you got awarded the funds, but the funding is getting so tight and other things don't get funded in the process. We can leave it on the list, and we can go ahead and adopt that resolution, and we can send it in this week.
So it
If at
has
any
to-
point in time we know that they're definitely not doing it, we would need to contact VDOT immediately and say, pull that back off.
When is the deadline?
It's gotta be adopted this meeting, October 1st is the deadline. That's why we've given them 3
I
months.
mean, well, when does it have to be in after today?
The deadline, these resolutions have to be adopted and submitted by October 1st.
What I'm saying, if we can get in contact with them this afternoon or tomorrow, even if we do adopt it, you can pull it out before you
We can
send it
pull
to
out before
VDOT.
October 1st, yes.
Or we could give them a 30-day extension and then pull it out. Because VDOT's not gonna do anything with it on October the 1st.
It'll be in their system for a while. It would be better to pull it out prior to them actually awarding the project. But yes, Rochelle, you are correct. We could tell them at that point in time to pull that one back out.
And we've done that before where we didn't get landowner participation for a lot more money than this. Have you heard anything from them about whether we got the grant for Major Grimm Road
Have not heard anything yet on the major grant for the next section.
and final section?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, what's to say that the letter that went to Mr. Arnold, do you think he's notified the rest of these people?
I do not know. That's, when we send that to them, so they're aware of that. We appoint them as the point person because they are the ones that have approached us and said, we're interested in doing this. And so, it was like Grouse Ridge Road project that we're currently working on now. There were about 2 landowners out there that spearheaded that organization. All of these road projects that we have done have been a landowner or 2 or 3 that have spearheaded that have been back in touch with us. We're willing to set up meetings and everything else to answer questions. Right now, Staff Street, Penwood, and Orion are the only ones that the landowners even contacted us back to say, yay, nay, we have a question, and Beetle Spinner did as well, and Beetle Spinner said they are not interested at this time in proceeding with it. They like the concept, they may want to look at it again in the next round of applications.
Well, according to what Joe said, Mr. Carrico he don't know a thing about it. That's the sad part of it. He's, some of the citizens that live back in there don't even know what's going on.
Yeah, there's been some misinformation from what Mr. Carrico told me. Misinformation that whoever the letter went to didn't share it with them, and they only found out about it a week ago. And also that it wasn't gonna be surface treated, it'd just be a gravel road. And maybe that clarification would help change somebody's mind.
Well, we can, you all can, the resolution is in here, you could go ahead and adopt that resolution. Mr. Carrico could, contact Ms. Castle, myself, and we'd be glad to have a community meeting out there. We typically find a local church and have it there, and then everyone can sit down and talk about it, and that's where I'd like to see it proceed.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think there's but 8 to 12 of them involved.
There's not a lot in there.
Thank you.
I will personally be in touch with Mr. Arnold there to make sure the rest of the people know that. If he ain't gonna tell them, I'll go up there and tell them.
We'll be glad to meet with them. But anyway, Dyer Road, we have not gotten any response back on that one either at this point in time. So my recommendation would be to adopt Staff Street, Penwood Lane, Orion Lane, and with the information this morning, Bentwood Drive resolutions, to proceed with the revenue sharing applications.
Or Dyer Road.
Down on 100.
Across from Reed Creek Drive.
It just lines up with Root Creek.
Have y'all just sent, y'all haven't contacted them by phone or anything to see if
The individuals, we sent the information by letter to the ones that had contacted us and let us know they were interested, but no.
You haven't
did not
followed
con-
up?
I don't have any contact information by phone. You can't, I've looked, but you can't find these people in phone books anymore. Everybody's got a cell phone. You cannot get information to contact them. And, so I've had Ms. Castle working with me on this, trying to get as much of these in, as we can.
Well,
These are very time consuming.
yeah, but we're whittling away at these unsurfaced roads. We've made a lot of progress
It's
in the
been a
last
great program.
few years, and this is the only way we can bring them in
Yep.
and get rid of these miles and miles of unsurfaced roads.
Scott, we need to do these one at a time, or can we do them all
I think you can do them all together.
okay?
That's up to you all, but I think you do them all together.
Stephen, will you list the?
Yeah, I would recommend adopting the resolution for Staff Street, Penwood Lane, Orion Lane, and Bentwood Drive.
Entertain a motion to adopt.
I'll make that motion.
Have a second.
Second,
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion or questions? Hear none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Horny?
Aye.
Yeah.
aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Next item, Mr. Chairman, Ms. Lane was going to do a radio system upgrade report for you all. Unfortunately, Ms. Lane had an emergency medical condition at the end of last week, and was unable to get that information prepared. And I told her I would move it back to the next meeting. So we will have that on the October night meeting for you all to review at that time. The next item is the U.S. Census Complete Count Committee. I will be working with Planning Commission staff and others to get a complete count committee group together. Is there any board member that would like to serve on that committee? The primary thing is going to be using our social media and our outreach with other groups to make sure everyone knows the importance of being counted, the ways to be counted, the importance of the online version of it. I have talked with Wytheville about it as well. They have started their complete count committee, but it may be a thing we could jointly work to make certain we're all working toward the same end together on that.
And, any area that's got computers set up, like the library, the training center, and to let people know they can go to them facilities and maybe we, have somebody there to help them get on and file.
Mr. Vanover's left, but I plan on trying to work with the Ministerial Association, anything we can do to get information out to all the churches, because there's a good network through church bulletins and things like that you can get that information out.
It's very important we get everybody counted.
Yeah,
That's the funding we receive. Need to make sure the count's right.
So, don't have to have it today, but if anybody wants to serve on it, just let me know, and we'll be scheduling some meetings and trying to get people lined up on it. And the last thing is, I've included a plat of the draft of the Apex Conservation easement area. And we just ask for your all's approval of that easement area, and for the county attorney to assist with drafting the necessary deed restriction deed document to establish this conservation area in compliance with DEQ.
Okay, I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Have a second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Now, any questions or comments?
Steve, since this is a government to government, is there any difference in it and what a private landowner does?
I don't know enough about what all a private landowner does. We don't have to go through like Virginia Outdoors Foundation or anything like that. Typically, we just have to declare, like we did in Progress Park, that we have set this aside as a conservation easement area and will not disturb this property in perpetuity.
Well, that's the problem right there. Not disturb is a bad word. Best practice management they will accept. 20 years from now, the county might want to cut timber off the side of that hill, and if you say not disturb, then you can't disturb it. But best practice management is a good comment that they will accept.
We can give it a try, see if it's accepted.
Any other questions? Hear none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Ball?
Aye.
Aye.
All right,
The chair votes aye.
Mr. Chairman, not within my agenda, but there is an item that I would like to add, if you all will allow me, and there is a handout in front of you. Several localities around us have been implementing burn bans. Obviously, we are beginning to see the effects of dry conditions. Obviously, I've shared with you emails. Mr. Crawford is here if he can answer any questions. The options are, one, we could look at implementing a burn ban. Historically, we've not implemented really anything unless the Department of Forestry or somebody has declared an emergency. And Mr. Crawford has talked with the local Department of Forestry and I think the National Forest about where they are. And I guess due to all the moisture we've had in the past and moisture still in the groundwater, and we are not in what they consider drought conditions. I shared the information with you yesterday. It's definitely getting dry. We could do it by declaring a local emergency and implementing this. The one draft resolution has a $250 fine associated with it to provide the sheriff's office, which Mr. Crawford did talk to the sheriff yesterday about this in doing so. Our other avenue is to not implement a burn ban, but to definitely use our social media to put out the word of, due to the extreme dry conditions and discouraging individuals from burning until we do get some more rain.
Any member of the board have any questions?
well, we've got two options. If you don't put some kind of civil penalty on it, it's another toothless dog. So I think if we're gonna do it, might as well put some teeth in it. Because they still get to go to court and plead with the judge. It's not an automatic $250 fine, correct? They would get a ticket, they'd go to lower court.
Now, I'll bring up the situation I just happened to mention earlier, and that's, and I'll use this as an example, and I don't know that it's happening, but if we adopt this today, if the Max Meadows Methodist Church is doing an open fire, apple butter making at Max Meadows Heritage Day this weekend, that is in violation of the burn ban.
Don't think so.
Well, and after you said that, Stephen, the resolution that Mr. Hale referenced with the fine in it, if you read that, it says with the found acting without regard in burning without proper supervision, burning that is unattended within 150 feet of woodland, brushland, or fields. I don't think.
They could be clear enough to be around that.
I mean, if they go by that, that's.
I just want to make certain we don't put our officers in a situation where they've got to be that, and that's the main thing.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time near and in the national forest. I've spent a lot of time working with them, and the first thing is with any burn, you're supposed to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, you're in violation right then. And having a water hose there in your backyard, then you've got some way to suppress a spark fire. I don't know, I know this has no effect on the railroad, but that's where we're gonna have an outbreak, is the carbon blowing out of these engines. as they pull the mountain. That's just gonna happen. But I think what I said earlier is true. And the way of getting it out there, I think it ought to be in the paper, other than just social media. And
Well, Mr. Stowers actually has the press release ready to go to the newspaper should you all adopt this today.
well, the Roanoke stations have been running them all morning, the counties that have already done this week. Thank you.
Mr. Crawford, do you have anything to add?
I do want to just, add what Mr. Vaught said. This is the same language for our spring burn ban that the Department of Forestry uses. So burning after 4 p.m. without proper supervision, unattended, and without due regard. I think that narrows it down to, we are getting into leaf season. People are going to want to burn something. This is not a total ban, but it is a restriction on burning without due regard of the environment. So I think that we're not telling everybody that they can't, but we are narrowing it down to be safe. So.
Any board member have any questions from Curtis?
Well, Curtis, I think the one thing that I've seen happen in past dry years, if the burn ban's in place, when the state police helicopter is flying Vector 81, if they see a smoke, I've seen them go out off track and go look at it, hover, and actually see, and I'm sure they call that in if it's unsupervised fire. So I think that passing a resolution also notifies them it's been done. It gives us a little bit more protection for so many of our people have their homes in wooded areas. And it's not just leaves right now, most fields will burn.
Right.
That includes Mr. Crawford's report, there was a couple field fires this past weekend.
Right, and in your packet, there is a list of the September fires. They're in green. Those are the brush fires that our departments have been called out to, that they have had an actual burning brush fire this month, I mean. Now, as Stephen said, we talked to the sheriff. This being a county resolution, it has to be enforced on the county level. The state won't enforce this for us. We will be enforcing this, but there will also be a chance of fines if somebody is burning outside. Those state fines do still account. So if somebody loses a fire, the state will still fine them upon whatever we do as well.
I'd like to add something also. This is prior history of fires. If you get a ticket and convicted, your homeowners won't help pay the fire department for the cost, or the state forest service, right, Scott? If you're convicted of breaking the law, your homeowners normally won't pay any back charge from the fire department or the forest service.
I think that's correct.
Yeah, the one up on Afton Mountain about 20 years ago, the guy got a $50 fine and he smirked and paid it, and his bill from the county and the state forest service was $250,000, and that sort of, and his homeowner said, "You're on your own, bud, you broke the law." So I think if you put out a bulletin, that might be a paragraph that we want to add to it.
And not to take any more time, but the last part is when we're ready to resolve the exit strategy for this, is that we have to do a resolution to do the same to get the burn ban off. So either we can do it as emergency management and then it be ratified by the board, or the board will just do another resolution.
Curtis, would you clarify for the town residents that may watch this meeting, not everyone understands how it works when the county adopts a resolution. What does that mean for the town?
So that encompasses everybody that's a county citizen. So that would encompass both towns as well. But we will be working with both towns as soon as this is done. I've already talked to Mr. Van Etter at the town, and we'll be pushing out the information with him as well.
Thank you. A lot of people assume that the town would have to also adopt a resolution.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Curtis.
Thank you.
Okay, I entertain a motion to adopt resolution 2019-25 with the fines or without the fines.
I make the motion that we adopt the Wythe County Resolution 2019-25 with the $250 fine.
Have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion, comments? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Horny?
Aye.
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 The chair votes aye. Anything else, Mr. Bear?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman, that's all I have at this time.
Okay, attorney's report. Mr. Farland?
I do not have anything to report at this time.
Okay, thank you. Anything on the opioid? I know there's a lot of settling going on. Have we talked to our representatives,
I have not.
the people that's representing us?
Invited them to come and give us an update. He sent the short email that I think got forwarded on to you. You forwarded that on to them?
No, just thought
Okay, sorry. I'll forward that on to you. We got an email from Mr. Barton. It was very short, and it didn't really give us any information, and then he said he'd try to get somebody here, but I'll forward that on to you guys later today.
Okay. Okay, Board of Supervisors reports. Black District, District 1.
Just a couple of things, and I talked to Stephen about this. I had a lot of positive comments from the employee picnic, and the committee is to be commended. The county employees really seem to enjoy it this year. And also, Carolyn King retired several months ago as registrar, and I know between her part-time and full-time, she was served with county for over 20 years. I think it'd be appropriate to do a resolution honoring her service to the citizens. And that's all I have.
Okay. District 2, West Whipple.
Nothing at this time.
District 3, East Whipple.
I did have one item. I had a business owner, Aaron Polly, he owns Smoking Guns at 244 East Lee Highway. He says he has 10 to 15 tractor trailers that pull through his parking lot in front of his business on a daily basis because they miss the turn at Kent's Lane, going into Progress Park. And one has even hit his building. So I have, like I said, I just got this morning, so I haven't driven out there to see what type of signage we have. But maybe we could work with VDOT and, put some extra signs up, or, I know we can't help the way a GPS takes someone, but, maybe we can take a look at it a little bit closer to see what we could do, since we, hopefully sometime in the future we'll have even more trucks going that way. More
There's
businesses.
good signage headed east that you can see, but I can't remember coming.
I think the problem with that is coming from the exit 77, you've got that rock wall and that curve, and they don't see it till it's too late. I think if we would have signage on the other side, maybe in that straight stretch, where the businesses are located, I think that would help.
I'm trying to think, is there any sign there at all?
I think
There's
there's
a
one
sign
right
on the-
there when you come.
You around the curve.
Yeah,
it's
On
right
the
in
interstate
front.
side, there's a sign there, I know on the one that says Progress Park coming in. I can't remember what's on the right, but yeah, we'll look at it.
Maybe we need to get a bigger one.
Thank you.
And some people, it's not gonna help one no matter what sign.
Yeah, if we could, you're right, if we can cut it down at all for him, I hate for a business to have to go through that
Yeah.
every day,
I
so,
agree.
especially with damage, and that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
District 4, Fort Chiswell.
Yeah, Mr. Bear, we've had, some bags blowing off near the, convenience stations. Could you ask county employees to, start reporting those to you or to the sheriff's department? We've had several over there at the bridge at Reed Creek that's been laying there for a couple of weeks, and everything else on right of way is cleared except where those bags blow off of a truck. And it's sort of like signage being down. We've got county employees all over the county every day, and if they would just call you or call their department head and get them to forward it to the sheriff's department, maybe we could get those picked up quicker. The Clean County campaign is something we've done right, and it looks good, but it always happens, seems like, within a half a mile or so of a convenience station. So,
I'll ask to get our cleanup crew to try to hit all of our convenience center areas as soon as possible. I will express appreciation to them and to VDOT while you're on that subject. Following our last board meeting, the next Wednesday morning, I went out with VDOT and reviewed Progress Park, just to show them that it needed a little bit of attention out there, the guardrails and bush hogging and all of that. They asked me when we could get the trash picked up before they came in and started mowing. The sheriff's office rerouted the crew immediately, and they were over there that afternoon picking up the trash, had trash out of the way, and the next day VDOT had crews out there, basically getting the right of way looking the way it should be. They've had the prison crews coming in, weed eating around all of the guardrails and everything, and it has really made a difference on the impact and look of Progress Park. If you get a chance, right out through there and take a look.
It looks very nice.
VDOT has done a tremendous job, and we need to express our appreciation at the next meeting when Mr. Fowler is here. They even did some repaving of some areas out there, and they worked on the north side of Gator Lane where the trucks pulled off. They graded it, put dirt down, put grass seed on it, and were watering it yesterday as I went through, and then they pulled back the curb at the entrance of Progress Park that had been a concern for Gatorade, and we're repaving that and going to be restriping, should be restriping the park today, if not tomorrow, out there. So.
And,
Mr. Chairman, I talked to Stephen about this the other day, reminded me when he said Gatorade. Several months ago, we talked about the no parking problem that we've had out there. Mr. Farthing, can you see if we can make a more stringent fine on that?
I will do that. I know, I don't know if I have any notes about it. We kind of addressed that, or at least talked about that issue a little bit with the Apex, with them parking on that road, the access road up to Apex, but I don't remember any conclusion of that. So, but I'll look into that and get back to you.
The $30 fine is not, I mean,
Not much incentive.
Captain Hudson's sitting back here. I'm sure he's issued numerous summonses out there, and it's just not,
Right.
it's not making a dent, and they're tearing the pavement out, and that's coming out of the tax coffers, and I have a problem with that. But
Okay. I'll see what I can figure out.
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
one more from District 4. Stephen, might be inappropriate, but since we didn't get in the new business, the status of getting that sidewalk done before the fall festival, have you got any update on that?
Mr. Kinser, you're talking about down there at Ready Mix Road?
no, you
No, I'm talking about the sidewalk
Oh,
and steps.
Yes,
because
the sidewalk and the steps. Yes, Mr. Bowers got the quotes in as of the end of last week. He sent me the quotes and has issued, or is issuing the purchase order, and the concrete company has indicated they can have the sidewalk in by October 4th, going across there, and then he's working with the stair people to see if they can have the stairs ready to go in right on top of the sidewalk as it's finished.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that last night when I couldn't go to sleep. If you're over there at one corner, it's 900 feet of walking to get to the other corner. And with the indoor events that are gonna happen, it would be really helpful to get that done by the 4th. Hope we can get it done. Thank you. Now tell us what Mr. Kinser said.
Oh, he met with King out there yesterday on the site again, going over it, has been working on emails with them. I don't have a date with them yet. We are still trying to get that finalized. We have finally met all of VDOT's requirements, and think we have all of that addressed, except for we are going to, off-site, we're going to have to work with the gas company, or the gas station next door, and probably get an easement from them to go in and dig up part of the drainage line through there that is full of rock, shale, everything else through there, and replace that part of the line before VDOT will actually accept maintenance of the road.
Well, that, I don't understand that. We've already flushed that line from,
It didn't flush it clean enough. We've had a jetter in there, we had the fire department in there trying to do even more work. It has not gotten to the level that VDOT will accept it yet.
that line's on private property,
Yes, sir, it is.
and this is more VDOT extortion. That line don't belong to the county now, does it?
No, it does not. There is a easement across it though, it says a maintenance easement on it, and he is researching that and talking to the company about it in the process.
Okay.
I don't like it at all, Mr. Hale, but in order to get VDOT to take the road over, we may have to do that.
Well, I mean, we're being asked to maintain something that was not put in for the convenience of the owner of that road. It is a property improvement for the property it's on. And I've seen them do this before, but hopefully you will push back some.
We are.
It's gonna cost to fix it. If they didn't jet it out, or maybe it jetted out and it just wasn't satisfactory.
It just, it's apparently big enough material, they can't get it out of there.
Well, we could go to Ireland and get 3 or 4 munchkins and send them up that little pipe.
If it was in the big pipe going past it, it'd be a whole lot easier.
Right. Thank you.
District 5, lead mines.
I have a couple issues. The lower end of Ivanhoe, where you turn down Shady River Drive,
Yes.
those people that live down in there would like to see that speed lowered. It's 35, we're just about at the stop sign. They'd like to see it took on back towards Carroll County. And they really need that because how many tickets have you wrote over there, Doug? Somebody said 100. So that's telling you they ain't paying no attention to the sign, and then people go across there with a 40-foot trailer behind a dually. That's a long stretch, and they're scared somebody's gonna get hurt in it. And I can see the concern. And also, I know VDOT's been busy at it, Progress Park, but this year, Riverview Road and Shady River Drive, where the road is deteriorated, I turned that in 30 days ago. They still ain't doing anything.
I'll do another follow-up with them on that.
That's all I have.
District 6, Feeble District.
I have some VDOT issues, but I've given them to Stephen and got a few more I think I'll give him, and he can relay them to them, and hopefully that'll take care of that.
And Mr. Fowler did tell me if anybody had any VDOT issues for me to get those and get them to him, and he would address those as quickly as he could.
Is Mr. Russell gonna be here today?
No, Mr. Russell will not be here today. Mr. Russell is no longer our residency administrator. Do not know what his position is, but understand he is in Bristol office at this time. Andy is the new interim administrator at this time, and Andy can hopefully be here at our next meeting. I found that out last week when I was calling to try to get Mr. Russell on our agenda for today.
Is that all, Gene?
That's it.
Only thing I have to report is no road issues or anything that I have. The Presbyterian Children's Home had their 100th year celebration on Saturday. Vice Mayor Yantz and Mayor Taylor was there, and I was also there presenting resolution. It was a great turnout. They even had alumni from New York to come. It was a great event and beautiful weather and stuff, and I think everyone had a real good time. And that's all I have to report.
Now, I have something else I'd like to ask.
Yes, sir.
What's the story on Burnt Springs property at the firehouse? Not the old firehouse, the new firehouse.
At the new firehouse, we will be working on that, option agreement to
Yeah.
close that out with them. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, if that's all, we'll go into our new business, consent calendar. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Have a second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve our consent calendar. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Vaught?
Aye.
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 And the chair votes aye. Next item is our fiscal year 2020 expenditure budget, second quarter appropriations. Entertain a motion to appropriate.
So moved.
Have a second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion, comments? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Horny?
Aye.
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 The chair votes aye. Mr. Byers, anything else to come before the board at this time?
There is nothing else unless you all want to go into closed session to discuss economic development. There's not a lot of information, but I can give you a brief update if you would like to do that.
Okay, entertain a motion to go into closed session under 2.2-3711A 5? No, A5.
A5, prospective business.
So moved.
Have a second.
Second.
Motion is second. Any other discussion, questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are now in closed session.
Second.
Have a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We are out of closed session. Mr. Lester, will you read the certification?
Whereas Wythe County Board of Supervisors has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. And whereas Section 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the Wythe County Board of Supervisors that such a meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the Wythe County Board of Supervisors hereby certifies that, to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification resolution applies. And only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the Wythe County Board of Supervisors.
Have a second on certifying the resolution.
Second.
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Horny?
Aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Mr. Barry, you have anything else?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman, I don't have anything else.
Any board member have anything to bring before the board at this time?
Mr. Mark,
Yes.
Homestead. I need to know who's going to Homestead.
Mine's taken care of.
Brian, anybody else plan to go? You are?
Possibly.
I'm not gonna be able to make it.
Ethics training.
yeah,
They having next week or this week?
this Thursday at 1 o'clock at West End United Methodist Church. Commissioner of Revenue's off, or the association, is having the training. You can watch the hour-long video online, and I think the link that supposedly worked does give you a certification when you're finished now that you viewed that.
I mean, you log on and register and put your name and your email address, and when you finish, that's it.
One person at a meeting last week said that when they first did it, it didn't have anything, but they had recently had somebody do it and they'd gotten certification.
Unless they send the email afterwards. I did it yesterday.
So, but if you want to attend that Thursday at 1 o'clock at West End, Ms. Barker invited anyone that would like to go.
And you have to have it completed by the end of the year.
December 31st.
Okay, with nothing else come for the board, yes.
In the appropriations, we appropriated the 50,000 to the Expo Center.
Yes.
First quarter, we did not. Where's that at?
Yes, we did. You appropriated it this first quarter. Yeah. You appropriated on June 30th, the first quarter, for everybody, which included the Apex Center. Just now, you appropriated the second quarter, so at the next meeting, we can start paying bills off of the second quarter appropriation. You have not paid anything to the Apex Authority yet. And that is because they have not sent in a request until yesterday afternoon for their request of funds, and I have told their director that that will be on the next board meeting for approval.
Okay, anything else?
I have a question about that.
Yes, sir.
Does any other agency or authority other than the school board get theirs transferred?
Get those transferred.
Well, we give a block of money to the school board quarterly, and then that's the end of it. We don't see what they're doing with it.
What we do, you all appropriate it quarterly.
Right.
And then the school board draws down as needed. Now, typically in the first quarter, the school board does not usually draw down hardly any local money at all. They have got enough federal and state money coming in for the start of the year that they don't even draw down hardly anything out of the allotment so far. All other, and theirs is just as the thing come in, but like every other organization we have, the Airport Commission, the Joint Industrial Development Authority, Mount Rogers Community Services, every additional thing that we have out there, all of your nonprofits, all of those, send in their request for funds. And then we send the funds out to them in that situation.
Let's talk about authorities like the New River Water Authority.
Yes.
Do they get an appropriation, or do you?
They don't request
handle
an
each
appropriation from us. The New River Regional Water Authority, we pay them to purchase water. So we have a budget of purchasing water with them. They don't request any funds for their
What are
operation.
their clients then? All right, and if you went to Wythe Solid Waste Authority, is theirs the same way?
They do not request any appropriation from us to run their operation. They are a self-sufficient operation. They make their money through their charges to other individuals, just like the Apex will be in the future. When they started, they may have had a situation where they were getting appropriations from Wythe and Blaine counties to meet payroll or whatever until they got their volume built up. But theirs is the same thing. We are just a client of theirs, and they do not ask for any operational funds from us.
The JIDA.
JIDA has got $236,000 budget. They sent a letter in to me a month ago requesting their $90,000 or whatever appropriation or whatever it was. We signed that and sent to them.
So they're treated more like the schools are, then, right?
Who's that?
JIDA.
No, they're treated just like the Apex Authority and everyone else.
You mean if they're spending, say they're going to pay money for this helicopter, does that have to come over here for approval?
They request from us, anytime after June 30th, they send a letter to us saying, send us our first quarter appropriation, and we send them 1/4 of their budget. So, and then from there, they are paying their bills off of that. Every airport commission's the same way.
And they all get audited the same, don't they?
All of them have audits performed, yes. You all usually see the audits of all the individuals out there.
Anything else? Hearing none, we are adjourned.